Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, folks, and today we've got a special film. We're going to be talking about 1987's Near Dark. And in this film, Cowboy Caleb meets gorgeous May at a bar, and the two have an immediate attraction. But when May turns out to be a vampire and bites Caleb on the neck, their relationship gets complicated. Wrecked with the craving for human blood, Caleb is forced to leave his family and ride with May and her gang of vampires, including the evil Severen. Along the way, Caleb must decide between his new love of May and the love of his family. This film is directed by Kathryn Bigelow and had a budget of $5 million. And starring Bill Paxton as Severen, we got Lance Erickson as Jesse, the leader of this vampire crew. We got Jeanette Goldstein as Diamondback in here. Jenny Wright plays May. Adrian Pasdar plays our Cowboy Caleb. We also got Joshua John Miller, aka Post Malone, who plays the little kid vampire Homer. And we also get Marcy Lees in this as Sarah Colton. I believe that's Caleb's sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, that's what's up.
There's a lot going on. Cowboy Caleb.
It's interesting because it seems like she's related to Lloyd Colton, who plays Caleb's dad in this. Tim Thomerson plays Lloyd Colton.
Maybe they had some of that Kid Culkin effect going on.
Maybe. We also get. I did want to point out Roger Aaron Brown, who plays a truck driver. He was a cool. To have him in here. He was that cop that was giving that suspect a hard time in Action Jackson. Remember the one that was sliced him up?
Yeah, okay. That makes all the sense.
So that's kind of interesting. But I think those are going to be our main people to highlight. I also want to shout out to Teresa Randall, who has a cameo in here as a you've seen her in Sugar Hill and stuff like that. I think she played Martin's wife in the first few Bad Boys films. Okay. But she has a...
she was Girl 6.
Yeah. She was a potential victim in here. You know what I'm saying? Also, Troy Evans, too. I recognize him, man. He's a good character actor.
Yeah, man.
But let's get into it, man.
Out the gate, man, I think this film's kind of in a league of its own, being it's like a neo-Western horror. But I really like Bigelow's out-of-the-box approach to how she delivers this vampire story. Because, for starters, this is one of the only vampire films that they never use the word vampire. As a matter of fact, they take it a step further and remove all of the gothic elements. You know what I'm saying? Like, these vampires don't play by the traditional vampire rules.
I don't get the rules at all in this. All I know is that they don't like the sun.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in all other vampire films, like,
they drink blood.
Vampires don't do the crosses. They don't do the holy water. There's no stakes in the heart. These vampires, we don't even see them grow fangs. All we know is that they're immortal. They don't like the sunlight, and they drink blood.
No mirror stuff either.
Yeah, no mirror. All of like the lore from what we got from Bram Stoker's Dracula and anything that preceded that, she removed from this, and I think that's what kind of makes this film so unique in its own right, and why it has such a large cult following, because it was able to stray away from the pack and do something unique in its own way. You know what I'm saying? And
I think the way she packaged her vampire story is a little unique, but the thing with the the what they call, I'm gonna say, I guess the romance, that I feel like we've seen that in other films too, where someone gets turned that's not part of this vampire.
Yeah, I don't know, like Lost Boys.
Yeah. But it's crazy because it came out the same year. But even before that, even like other films that were dealing with this material, where you had someone that was from the regular walk of life having to possibly integrate into this vampire world or not. You know what I'm saying? But the way she did it, I think, brought a different aesthetic. Like having this crew kind of being like nomadic, and just kind of out in this Western wasteland in a way, it's flyover town, it's small town America, it's place you would not think about with vampire. Most vampire stuff is like big city stuff,
Yes, where there is a plethora of victims where it's like they just have an abundance of people that they can take out seamlessly and be unnoticed, whereas out here they probably got a population of, I don't know, like 700 people gonna know.
I feel like I get the sense that they're probably hitting everywhere from New Mexico to Arizona, Oklahoma, Texas. They're just roaming around all of that, and
it does.
So that I think that could greatly expand there.
Absolutely.
And it would explain how it's interesting. I like what's his name, the main guy,
Jesse.
And he
Lance
says, I fought for the South in the Civil War. So he's been, he's been out here for a minute.
And that's the thing too. Like you said, like for me, I do like the lighthearted romance stuff. I mean, I think that it's not the core makeup of this film. They could have done without it, but it was nice to see like that. This character that we get in May, she finds comfort in her food, in essence. Like this guy that she's supposed to take out as a meal, she ends up falling for. And in the normal world, people look for life partners. She's looking for like an eternal partner, someone to spend eternity with. Where it's like, oh, that's kind of poetic, but
I get it though.
I get it. But for me, like you said, like it's more about the emphasis on the family element. Like this core group of these characters, dude, they move around like gypsies in a sense, where they just go from town to town. I mean, we first see them, they're in a Winnebago, and then then they steal these cars. And one thing that I did like is because they didn't timestamp their age, but after they burn that Winnebago, Severen, played by Bill Paxton, looks at Jesse and was like, this reminds me of that fire we started in Chicago. And he's referencing, we get the feeling that he's referencing the Great Chicago Fire of 1871.
It could have been,
and how they seamlessly move together in unison with everything that they do. You can tell that they've been doing this for a while. And another thing that I really, really like about this methodical way of life that they got going on is anytime you see the sun come up, like everyone has a job to do. Like one of them is putting the foil on the windows, another one's got the tape, another one's got the spray paint, another one, I mean, it's like they ride or die for each other.
That part got a little goofy to me because like it just blew my mind how unprepared they were and how seated their pants they're living. So it doesn't really make sense that they lasted this long. Like no one's got to watch. No one's paying attention to the time. They're basing it off how the sky looks. And I'm like, bro, for the sun to be so lethal to me, dude, I'm taking all precautions. I'm wearing sunblock before I go.
You know what I'm saying?
We've got plans. The thing that blew me is when the one scene, it is like, what are we gonna do, Jesse? like we gotta find us a place. And I'm like, you didn't have a place to hide out at before you left.
Yes.
Like do you have that much faith in this guy? What if something happened to him? Yes. And you don't have this guy that has this vast knowledge of hideout places. And like what do you do? It's crazy to me.
I mean,
it's like you could go down with the captain.
We were joking around before we started recording this. It was like shit in '87. Casios were invented. I mean, there were digital watches with timers on them and alarms. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, man, we'd have been like the Power Rangers, dog. All of our watches are synced up. Do. When the sun,
and I'm like, I wouldn't even want to be driving like that close to the, like, who knows what if you get a flat? You just up in that car cooking, and then some citizens gonna come by. Hey, you all right in there? Open the door.
It's like, dude, it's really rough because like every time the sun comes up and they cruising, it reminds me of the smoke out scene in Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, because the van, the dog, it's thumping. It's like, damn, they either chiefing the heavy or they on fire.
Yeah, I do like that, man. There's some cool scenarios in this, man. You know what I'm saying? I think once we get to the characters, it's kind of cool when we meet our core vampires. But even Caleb, man, he's kind of a cocky, guy in his early 20s, and he's going out looking for a good time.
He found it.
Yeah, but it's weird, man. Like I get, this thing is listed as like romance, Western horror, but that's one thing I didn't really buy with this thing, the romance, man. It just didn't seem that she was that into him that it would even go like maybe it's just the portrayals or the way it was filmed and directed. I just didn't get that sense that she would be that like into her food off the top, because he was kind of annoying. He was like, I'm like, bro, I would kill him off a GP.
Yeah, just I'll take you home if you give me a kiss.
I'm like, bro, this chick is clearly in distress for whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe if she stays out any longer, her dad's going to whoop her ass. But if you kiss me out, I'm like, bro, this is so crazy to me, yo. And
but also,
like it's wild.
To your point, I think that it wasn't just that she was that into him, but it was also situationally, like she was.
Maybe the idea.
It was
like
the idea
of someone.
She found somebody that was around her age. Someone that she could, coexist with for an extended period of time. Because we find out later in the film that Homer, who's played by Joshua John Miller, the little one, who he makes a point. He says, "You have no idea what it's like being a big man in a little body."
See,
we find out that he's the one who actually turned May in hopes that she would want to be with him, but she viewed him as like a little kid.
Nuts. What was he thinking?
You a little dude.
So he messed this whole thing up from the start. Because like his aspect of it made sense to me. Like he's the smallest one of the crew. He's the only kid like person, and everyone else around him they care for him and they look out for him. But they're all adults.
He's the runt of the crew,
and he doesn't have one really that can relate to what being a kid and that made more sense to me honestly than May's stuff.
And the thing is that even with Homer, like I looked into it a little more. Even with Homer, he was brought on that was Jesse's attempt to please Diamondback for wanting a child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I mean, my goodness, just because you bit him in 1800 and he was 12 then. I mean, y'all in the 1980s now. Yeah, he's over 1,000 years old.
I'm tired of this little.
He ain't even hit puberty. He's like, damn, dog. I'm 1,000.
It's twisted. I mean, it's not a normal situation, so I don't expect normal rational thoughts. So I'll let that slide.
But one thing that I really think excels this film is this trifecta cast that we get from Lance Hendrickson, Bill Paxton, and Jeanette Goldstein, because you can tell that they have a lot of confidence and continuity with each other, being as though this is the same core group of heavy hitters that were in Aliens the year before in 1986. And they have a lot of chemistry on screen, but what really stood out to me, I mean, Lance is a leader. You can tell that not only was he a leader as Jesse in the film, but like he had leadership qualities. Like, man, I done rode this ride before, and you can tell that in his confidence on screen playing his character. But it was so awesome to see them let Bill Paxton off the leash. Like he was given 100,000%.
I feel like he lived his life off the leash. He was off the leash in Aliens.
He was, but this was just
it's almost as if you got that guy, but now he's in this vampire crew,
it was such a different dynamic in to just see him really just go all in this facet. Like I never saw him in Aliens is a sci-fi horror, but for him actually playing a horror character, you know what I'm saying, and being notable at that and being very good at it. Like he excelled at being, this vampire. Man. I'm quite frankly, he's the one you don't want to cross paths with. And what really stood out to me was in that bar scene. Like they said, I was watching this documentary and he gave an interview and he said that before they shot that scene, he woke up with his significant other in Venice, and he gets these bad migraines, and they're real hard for him to handle. So he calls the directors like, "Look, man, is there a medical doctor on set? I need a shot of something." And this was the first time he ever got a shot of B12, and he got it right before this scene. And he was like, "Bro, when that kicked in, that's when I'm starting doing this whoa yeehaw and all that whole bar scene." I mean, he was so amped up and jacked
It's almost like you took his Terminator character, but he's got power. He's not about to get crushed by the Terminator. He's the same. He's the same cocky, playful, and just in your face, like yeah. That's when this thing really got interesting for me, man. That bar scene, character wise, I think he stands out the most, man. But it's also kind of a detriment to in my opinion, because no one else in here matches his energy, man. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it kind of. He's so good. It kind of exposes some of the other weaknesses in this film. I think by him being such a great character, because like as confident of a leader as Lance's character is, it's more just body language. You don't really get to really say a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that was part of his character.
Maybe that was part of it too.
He didn't have to say much. You know what I'm saying? He showed improvement, and like obviously, I think that he was the one. He's like, man, I'm the one who had a hand in on all of y'all being a part of this anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But with Paxton being so over the top, it just it's hard to really key in on, you know, what everyone else is doing in this thing too, man.
And also, you know, who kind of got lost in the shuffle for me was Jeanette Goldstein as Diamondback, because, you know, even though
really, maybe at the end she does something.
Yeah,
you know,
she was a strong female presence. Easy on the eyes. I liked how she did the wildness with her hair and everything like that. But ultimately, she just kind of blended in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She was almost like Jesse's shadow in a sense.
With Paxton being so over the top, it's everyone else is kind of falls to the side. You know what I'm saying? It's like when he's on the screen and doing anything, he just takes over, dude. It's kind of crazy.
He really does. But I did like May, played by Jenny Wright. She, I thought she brought like kind of like a softness element to the crew, like a more of a feminized, much needed feminine softness to this very masculine crew of vampires. Even though, you know, Jeanette Goldstein is obviously a woman. And attractive in her own right, but you know what May brought to it was like she embodied that, like, you know, young, youthful, you know, lust for love, looking for, you know, like I said, that's why the romance aspect kind of, you know, made more of an impact on me by watching this, because of how her character brought that.
It's kind of interesting too, because I don't know, like I do kind of wish I got more insight into how everyone got their ways. We get a little bit with Diamondback's character. Knows she talks about, yeah, remember I met you on this road, and I get the sense she's probably about to be food too. You know what I'm saying? So most of the people in this crew are reluctant vampires. The only one I feel like Severen might have been asking for it. He might have found out. I was like, man, you guys look cool. I want to be down with you. You know, I'm not saying that's how it happened, but it comes across like that, because even with May's character, how you talking to softness, she coming from a point of view like I wasn't. This is not how I was, and I had to learn to live with this if I want to survive. But I also understand Caleb's position in being in this. So I'm kind of, you know, I'm babying him. I'm trying to show him and telling him, oh, you got to do this. This is how we live. You know, it'll be all right. You'll get over it. You know, having that sympathy. Whereas everyone, including Severen, is like, man, this motherfucker, he dead weight. Like you know. Like,
from what I gathered, not just through my multiple watches of this film, I mean, but also like the little bit of research that I did. From what I was able to come up with is that, you know, Jesse turned Severen very early on, and the two of them, they were rocking for quite some time. And then Jesse brought Diamondback in, you know, just for, you know, because ultimately they're all, you know, kind of lonely vampires.
It's going to be a lonely existence. Even if you do
Severen's the only one who just fully embodies and embraces
even if you
lifestyle.
do get cool with living in the real world, that's going to be broken up on occasion, because you're outliving everybody, your friends. Like, damn, bro, you ain't aging. Like you can't really stay stationary. There's a cool film that kind of deals with this thing called The Man from Earth. It's mostly a conversational film. It's good as shit, man. Tony Todd and a bunch of people. Basically, this guy is like, you know, proposing a question. He's moving from this town all of a sudden, so his buddies from work show up to send him off. Like, bro, you leaving town without us? And basically, he breaks down and tells them that this motherfucker's like, I've been alive since Jesus, and they're, you know, and he's going through how. So it's crazy, like, thinking of this vampire lifestyle, like you're living to eternity. So unless you've got enough money and you can, you know, hide, you know, or figure a way financially to be this guy, you got to be on the run like this, man.
I mean,
and honestly, if I'm living forever, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not living like this shit. What we gonna do?
I'm be targeting, Jesse. I'm be targeting people with them coins. I ain't
gonna be fucking boarding up my covering up my windows at 5:30 a.m. on the highway.
Renting bungalows out and stuff. You know, no, we ain't doing that. But like, it seems like this crew got put together just for appeasement. Like I said, you know. Jeanette got brought on to appease to Jesse. Homer got brought on to appease to Jeanette. May got brought on to appease to Homer.
The fucked up way, they're all trying to escape this loneliness.
And then Caleb gets brought on to to escape the loneliness of eternal living. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, man, so I like this underlying fact that like, sometimes, even though we go through our highs and lows in life, whatever, things happen, be it health-wise or whatever else, you want to live your life in the 3 sections, the beginning, the middle phase, and the end, because if it's eternal, like you said, you're going to watch everyone that you love and you care about go, pass you by, pass on, and the world just is going to constantly be changing for the better, for the worse. It remains undetermined, but, to be there and just kind of just have to live that lonely existence is just not cool. But
wild, dude.
But another part that I like, another scene that really stood out to me that I thought hit kind of heavy, at least for Caleb's character arc, is when they get in the shootout with the cops, in the little bungalow, and then he has to like save the day. He's like,
I did like that scene, just the way it was filmed and shot, and it plays into the vampire strengths and their weaknesses. Yeah, like being in that place and as the cops are shooting and their bullet holes are leaving, holes for the light for the sun to come in.
You can tell they're not scared of the cops. They're not even scared of getting hit. They eating the bullets like Scarface, but it's the light. And then when Caleb has to put the blanket on and run to the, by this point he still ain't caught a body. They're like, they told him that he can ride with them for a week, and like they're getting fed up. They're like, dog, you ain't killing, you ain't one of us. And so he does this, and it kind of like gives him a breath of fresh air because he earned their respect while still being able to hold on to his humanity.
And Homer bitch ass, oh my god!
He's like, hey, for you to be a big man in a little body, you sure is acting like a big bitch.
Oh god, yeah. I was like, bro, if you don't shut up and get low.
Yes, exactly. But with all that, like you said, like this is also a testament of really inventive effects work, because like one thing that really stood out to me is like whenever they're out in the light and they're smoking, like especially that first part where Caleb first turns, dog. They said that in his prosthetics, they put like 100 little puncture wounds or holes in the prosthetic. There was tubes that ran through to a belt he was wearing on his waist that housed 6 cigars. And then they're just, with little fans and just pushing cigar smoke. He said after that scene, he smelled like stogies for like a week and a half. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. And what was really cool as well is like, this is also a testament of how like Lance Hendrickson really prepares for his roles, because they said that he really like took on this character, going as far as to get he spent like a couple $1,000s. He got these these nails, these acrylic nails, super thick, got them put on, and then like broke them off with pliers, and he made his hair all super dirty and dipped it in tar. Lost like I don't know how much weight he lost. He said he got down to 140 pounds and was actually like riding around like this for months, even when as far as to like when everybody else flew
too much, man.
When everybody else flew to the set, he actually drove and was picking up hitchhikers and like trying to scare the shit out of them. Like it's like, dude, like
you gotta relax, bro.
I was like, man,
do all that, Bishop.
Come on, come on, Bishop. And then also, I mean, of course, the standout in the effects is that Bill Paxton scene when he gets hit by the Mack truck and then he comes up. I mean, he's just split from the head down. He's all leaking and all that stuff. I mean, that is an unforgettable makeup job, and I mean, it will leave a lasting impression. I saw this real early in my life, and that was definitely what do you like to call it? Nightmare fuel?
See, I don't know. I think, like I said, I was telling you earlier, I think my reaction to this would have probably been a little bit different had I saw it back then. But this was my first time watch, man. So it's interesting, man. I definitely see the appeal of a lot of it, But also I think that first like hour or so, man, it's just not hour, maybe the first 40 minutes, man. It's just a bit uneven and wonky, you know what I'm saying, for me to be all in on the whole thing. But like I said, from that bar scene until the very end, I was all the way into it. But I do gotta give some one more complaint, bro. The ending, bro. Like The Cure? What the hell is that?
A blood transfusion?
How the fuck did the dad know this?
It makes sense. I know.
No, how does he know this? What are we doing? Like, this is crazy to me, dude.
You cannot give a blood transfusion to cure vampirism.
How does, like, and then they did it twice, and then I'm like, bro, what are we, like?
Dad did it for Caleb. Caleb did it for Meg.
It kind of takes all the wind out the sails for me, yo. Like for the overall picture, man. Like, I'm like, I would have been better if just kill May, get her the fuck out of here.
It made it seem too
nice.
Like,
why are you leaving her around out of this whole horrible bunch? And she's probably done killed mad people too.
Yeah.
Over this time, and like even the truck driver, my man was just trying to teach my man how to make a living.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, you ever shift? This got 13 years. I mean, no, you're right. I mean, it definitely
crazy.
It made this feel a little too nice, and a little
meat package elbow.
A little too
ribbon ending.
A little too form-fitting, so to say. And, one thing I would have liked to see is there was a different ending. Bigelow actually intended to have the ending, whereas, yes, May was going to get her blood transfusion too, but then at the end, Sarah was going to walk into the barn and she was going to be smoking from the light, so Homer would have actually nicked her. So then that way, it's like, but then, I mean,
that would have been dark.
That would have been dark. It would have been near dark. You know what I'm saying?
I could have worked with that.
That's what I'm saying. I really think that would have been something that could have added to the intensity of the horror element. But there was a heavy, like I said, this underlying like romance stuff, and they kind of got this like Romeo Juliet feel going on. So instead of them, dying to be together, they end up living to be together. How cute!
This is a little weird, man. Maybe it would have worked better for me in the beginning if maybe that first night she spared him and roll off, and then maybe the next night she comes in and finds him, and then let it play out a little bit more. But it just
how'd
didn't.
That Nick work for you? Are you turned yet? Otherwise, I'm gonna eat your ass.
No, I'm talking about in the beginning when they first met. It just didn't feel like
she wouldn't have bit him till the second night.
Then like it would have made more. But to fall that hard on the date would have like it didn't connect with me. And even later on, she's kind of babying him, but I didn't feel the chemistry.
Yeah, it was almost like she was taking care of him because she had to. She felt like because she knew if she didn't, they were gonna eat.
You know what felt like a damn quick budding love at first sight relationship. If we got what we got from True Romance, and like that, the way that opened up and put that in the front of this film, and then go into this other stuff, I think it would have been stronger for me, man. Some people love this thing. A lot of people love this thing, man. This overwhelmingly got like really rave reviews, man.
Yeah,
but like I said, maybe my time catching it now, I'm a little cynical now as a film goer. I'm kind of hard on these hoes, a little bit more so than some film goers. But maybe I would have had a different impression had I got that time with it.
I saw it. I might have been about like 8. Back when I still had a certain view about like love and relationships. Like, oh man, everything is so magical. But I was also very inexperienced. I wasn't scarred up yet. But now I'm like, I don't know. I look at him like I don't believe it. But another thing that really works for me with this film is the cinematography. It was shot by it was shot by Adam Greenberg, who also did The Terminator, and at this point was a household name in doing these low budget independent films, and kind of helping inject the magic on the screen with the way he is very stylized shooting and everything. And one part, I mean, dude, that scene. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but that scene before they go into the bar where you're looking up at the mountain and you just see the moonlight, and then you see their shadows and they're standing there looking at the bar. That was a very cool shot, but you know what it also reminded me of? The scene in Lost Boys right after they killed all the dudes in the bonfire.
I don't think this film necessarily stole anything from Lost Boys because they were probably in production around the same time, but maybe staggered a few months at the most. And they hadn't seen Lost Boys before this happened. So it's and that's why a lot of coincidental, And
I'm not saying that as a rip or even as a negative thing. I'm actually saying that as a very high compliment, because Lost Boys is one of my favorite. That is like my 1A to Fright Night being my 1B favorite vampire films. And for that, for this dude, Adam Greenberg, to put that shot in there and it to just bring me right back to, you know, that scene in Lost Boys and the love that I have for that movie. It's like, man, it just made me love and appreciate this movie that much more because of the amount of energy and effort they were putting into, you know, the way it was shot. I mean, and then you get like some really cool landscapes. It looks all dry and just desolate out there. I mean, I don't know what kind of pocket town they were in, but it looked like there wasn't a whole lot of much going on. It's not somewhere you want to be at for long. You know, you kind of feel like, damn, I don't want to live there, especially now that it's inhabited by these gypsy vampires. You know? Also, I just want to point out the music was solid. It was composed by a band called Tangerine Dream. So if that's not a 1980s band name, I don't know what is. But I think that they really did a good job in like capturing the essence of what the film was trying to portray as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, overall, I would say check it out, man. Just take it off your list, man. I think some of y'all might react a little better toward it than I did, but and if you've already seen it, rewatch it again, man. You know, it's got some stuff in there that's cool, man. You know, especially, you know, for what it brought to trying to, you know, give you a different spin on vampirism. You know, that's,
for me, that is the high point of the film. Like I said, I'm not as hard on it as Monk is. I do love this film and appreciate what it brings to the vampire genre, and because I saw it at such an early age, around when it first came out, it definitely it hit me harder, and for that reason, it has a higher level of rewatchability. Not just because of what it brings to the table now, currently, but you know, I love when a film can also take me back to a simpler time and just a different time in how movies were made and you know, processed and everything, how they progress through time. And this one does that for me as well. All right, folks, I think we can wrap this up, man. We'll be back next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. No bats. No bats, though. Make sure you like and subscribe, man. Click the QR code. You want to help us out and buy some merch. And you catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow the show at Classics of Cinematics on Instagram. It's Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show. All right, folks, we out of here.